Morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's nice to see you. We have a nice sunny fall day here, but that doesn't mean that we haven't started thinking about holiday garments because if you can believe it, Thanksgiving is next week and then we're straight into December. So with that in mind, we have come up with some fun holiday garment ideas for you this week, which involve sparkles and special fabrics and things that make you feel good and happy. So we're going to head over to Linda and she's going to talk to you about it.
Betsy. Betsy's in Kansas City, kind of running the show today. Alex is on an airplane, and Erin is standing by because I'm technically challenged. So it's great to see you. I hope everybody's feeling great today. Um, I was reminded that I need to start again with my sort of getting my stash under control. And when I say stash, I mean stash at the office. The stash that I have at home really is not much because I have a huge stash here. But it's time to let some of these great pieces go. And so I'm going to show you a couple of pieces that are for sale that are not on the website, and it's you have to call and all that to if you like them. But this is a beautiful rayon challis. I love the colors. I love the scale of the motif. But to find this teal, navy, black, and kind of my color of gold and yellow and green. So this is a 2-yard piece. It's actually almost 2 1/4. Has a little square cut out of the corner. And so that would be $20. And if you'll email me at linda@sewingworkshop.com and tell me you want the rayon challis for $20, it's yours. First one gets it. Now, I didn't pull these fabrics out. Somebody else did. Would I have pulled this out? No, because I love this a lot. And I probably would have kept it. But this is a Marimekko piece. And if you're familiar with Marimekko, you know that many of their designs are big and bold and graphic. And in fact, I have used a lot of Marimekko as hanging wall pieces because the scale it sort of lends itself to that. This is 100% cotton. It's from Finland, which is where Marimekko is. So this is a 1.5-yard piece and all cotton, and that's for $20 as well. When I say wall pieces, when Alex moved to Cleveland many years ago, she rented an apartment, didn't own a thing, and we took 2 or 3 of these panels and just hung them in the strategic places. And it gave the spaces in the rooms a real charm without spending a lot of money. Here you have a piece that's, I don't know how wide this is, probably 48 at least. And for $20, it's better than buying a bad picture or a small picture when you need something large. But as Betsy said, I can't believe it, but we are thinking about some holiday things. And when I think of the sewing workshop, I don't necessarily associate us with glittery evening wear fabrics. But in looking around, it was sort of amazing how many things we have in our vault, in our stash, in our collection that I would absolutely wear to an event. And it doesn't even have to be a fancy event. This is the time of year when maybe you wear your black pants and you put on a nice blouse or top and you go to a dinner or you invite somebody over to your house and you're dressed differently. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So these are not ball gown ideas. These are special piece, the kind of things that you wear and people will say, oh, that's really nice. Where'd you get that? And you can say that you made it and not have anything to do with shopping retail. First, I want to talk about, though, my recent trip. So I just got back from a river cruise on the Danube. And we stopped at places like Prague, Budapest, and various other towns which are somewhat unrecognizable to me even today. But a lot of what I did was watch people, and especially young people, not necessarily, but just street goings on. And I was aware of trends. And the one trend that really hit me in the face was the fact that hosiery is back. Now, I'm of the generation where we have spent our entire lives getting rid of hosiery. We don't want to be bogged down or tightened up or whatever. We want to be free. Well, these people in Eastern Europe, and I am sure all over the world, are wearing every type of hosiery that's available, from sheer and nude to heavy and textured to lace. And of course, they're wearing shorter skirts and maybe a bootie or a boot. And so maybe you don't see a whole leg of it. But nevertheless, hosiery is back. And I remember there used to be, and I think there will be again, some separate stores that sell nothing but hosiery. My very first job as a 14-year-old was at Robinson's Shoe Store in Topeka, Kansas. And I was the girl that would open up these skinny little boxes, put my hand through the hosiery so you could see the color over my skin. And it was all a very delicate operation. But that was my first job. I loved it. The other thing that I saw was some form of this kind of shoe. Now, this is a sneaker or a trainer or whatever you want to call it. Various iterations of stripes, logos, studs, insertions of different materials, whatever it was. But generally, they kind of look like this. And of course, you would wear this with hosiery, whatever your selection is. And the other thing was the little fur jacket. So this is a Crossroads jacket. Now, Crossroads is a pattern of ours that normally is longer, and it's segmented into some sections. But if you tape those pattern pieces together, overlap them 1.25 inches, which is 2 5/8-inch seam allowances, then of course you can have a solid piece. Now, I've made this as a jacket in a summer weight, waffle weave cotton. We've made this in various sections of different textures of wool. But in this fur, this is what everybody had on. And it was cold over there, so you needed it. This doesn't even have a closure. It could, but it doesn't. It is lined. The Crossroads top is not a pattern that has lining. So you're kind of on your own. But we have tutorials on bagging the lining, how to create lining. And in my craftsy class, you can sew this. I teach you how to work with fur. And it's not nearly as hard as you think, particularly if you own a serger. A serger is sort of the way to go on this. But isn't this cute? I know I want to put it on actually because it's a little bit nippy in here today. So this, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that we have a tutorial on how to make that very jacket in the Crossroads Compendium.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yep, don't forget about that.
Okay, great. Is the other one in there that is pieced?
Yes. So the
Okay.
compendium has yeah, the 3 different Crossroads patterns in there that we did that
Okay.
year for So Confident.
Yeah. It's a great pattern. It just sits on your body really well, doesn't fall back. It's built really well. There's room enough in this jacket for a sweater or a jacket underneath it. You can make it any length that you want. You can play with the collar design. One end is squared off, and the other end, well, the other end is tapered, but both ends of this are squared off. So you can play around with the design and concept of the collar. So we have just like one piece left of this fur. We had a couple pieces, but somebody was snagging it before the live stream started, so we're down to one piece. So if you want it, you better get it. All right, when I think of holiday sewing, I want it to be pretty simple. You know, I've got a lot of other things I want to do, get ready. So I'm going to show you two for sure, if not more, of the simplest patterns that we have. And if you make them in the right fabric, you're going to be ready for the holidays. So this is the Eureka top. Now this is an unusual fabric and we don't have this anymore, but it's kind of it's a woven ribbon-like thing that's on I've lost my word here, mesh underlayer. The nice thing about this is that you can wear it just like this, or you can wear it over a turtleneck, you need a little warmth, or some kind of a t-shirt or something that has a longer sleeve. But the bands that are normally on this are not here. So that's just been eliminated. And the edges have simply been bound in a contrasting black fabric. All the edges, because this is the kind of fabric where you don't really want to get into hemming it too much. We've got a couple of things on the wall that are like that, where if you can just simplify it, edit it down, boil it down to just single layer things, you're going to be happier. Maybe a little bit of handwork, maybe not. Don't want to scare you. But Eureka top, to me, is one of those tops that can take you in a lot of places from dressy to casual. So here it is in a woven silk. And you know, it's very elegant. This has the armbands on it. But it's essentially the same pattern. When you're making the Eureka top in a woven, it's a different technique at the neckband than it is if you're using a knit or something that stretches. This you want to cut on the bias, but when it's a knit, you want to cut it on the cross grain. Now here's one in a lace. I seem to love lace. I don't wear lace except the holidays. Here it has the armband on it, but it's turned up this time. But wear this over a little cami, maybe even contrasting color, black. And put that with a beautiful skirt, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And you have a nice dressy piece. Well, here's the other one that's so simple. That is the Anne's tank that also in the pattern has the Anne's cardigan. So here it is like the pattern. No sleeves, nice, fairly open, but not too low neck opening. But as you can see, all the edges are left raw. And sewing a sequin fabric, this kind of sequin fabric, is not a very big deal. You can put it on your serger, it'll cut right through it, or you can stitch it with a sewing machine and then either take out some of the sequins in the seam allowance or not. Again, this is in that so you can sew that. So you can sew that. Is that the name of that class? Funny name. So you can sew that, yes, with Craftsy. So if you want to know how to sew some of these exotic fabrics, that's a great class to take with Craftsy. This normally has an opening at the side, and you can see the points. But here it is with a sleeve. Now guess what? We make it easy for you. The Anne's cardigan, which is the second piece in the pattern, has a sleeve. And that sleeve fits in the tank. So you don't have to make up a new sleeve pattern. It's right there for you. Just use it from the jacket. In this case, let's see, we left the sides open. Again, it's not hemmed, not even at the sleeves. And the binding is a sheer mesh sort of fabric, little remnant that we had. So this is like a sweater knit that has some sequins, not solid, but sprinkled. Very different thing than this, which is all over. I was helping someone this summer figure out what to wear to a rehearsal dinner for her son's wedding. And the bride had wanted all white. It was great. So she wore a white jacket, white pants, so a white suit, but just put a little shell, something like this, in a little bit of a glittery fabric to just take the place of the need for some great piece of jewelry. That was the little piece of shine, and I thought it was a great idea. It worked out really great. So a little bit shimmery right through here, but the rest of it was a classic white suit. Okay. Excuse me, I need a little water. Now, yesterday I was hunting for something in the vault, which is no easy matter. And I ran into some black velvet that we have had for a very long time. I know that because I recognize the handwriting on the tag, which, first of all, we don't do anymore. And secondly, the person who wrote it, I recognize her handwriting. So I know that we've had that velvet 35, 40 years, something like that. So I dug it out, and Deb hung it today. This is the classic rayon silk velvet. It's kind of gutsy. And when you say rayon silk velvet, it implies that it's very drapey, luxurious, but it's a combination of, I hope I can get this right. The base of the fabric is rayon and the pile is silk. It could be reversed. I haven't looked at that for a while. But at any rate, we have about 6 yards of this that has been in the vault for a number of years, and it's just as beautiful as ever. And we kept the price at what it was 30 years ago, and it's $30 a yard retail. So what I would do with that, I would make myself the forever, wear it every year, black velvet skirt. And the skirt pattern that I would use would be the Oasis skirt. A nice, straight, a little bit of kick to it skirt, elastic waist for comfort. The nice thing about this skirt, and if you're going to sew it in velvet, is it only has one seam. So that's just one less hassle you have in getting things sewn in velvet. The seam hanging here, I'm not sure how this is supposed to hang now, but one seam down here, and then it has a kick pleat that's not in a seam. So this kick pleat could be left side, right side, back, front, whatever, but this skirt will go forever with you to whatever you need. I have one at home, and I dig it out a couple times a year and put some pretty thing on the top, and I am ready to go. So if you're wanting the best and easiest black velvet skirt for whatever's happening in your life over the holidays, I suggest you consider the Oasis skirt. All right. We're talking about gifts, and there was a time when I was really, really, really into scarves. I still love them, but I don't make them like I used to, but I don't know why that is. Well, this is a really great scarf idea to make using some of those scraps of pretty fabrics that you have. some silks, a plaid, or make a plaid out of several colors of dupioni, insertions. I found this fabric that kind of sort of looked like fringe. It's on the bottom. But there are a ton of ideas in some books that I've written. My most beautiful book of all time is Scarves to Make. And I love this book because I remember the experience of this book. The photographer was Jack Deutsch from New York, and he and I rode all over the city of New York and would stop at various architectural elements that were interesting and take a picture of a scarf. So this is a really great book, not only for you, but as a gift for someone that you know who's a sewer. Then I wrote a series of books, So Easy series, came in these little box sets. And I won't take this apart, but every project, and there are, I think, a dozen of them, yes, 12, is on a card that opens up and it gives you the full instructions of how to make a scarf, this particular scarf. And in addition to that, it has a little how-to book in it. This is another one of the scarves from the book. And this is just a good little beginning sewing booklet. And the techniques that are in here relate to the scarves that are also in the book. This would make a great gift for a young sewer because of the techniques in there. Easy, short projects, short attention span projects. And then there was a time when the publisher took a little bit from every one of my So Easy books. There was So Easy Scarves, So Easy, what was the other one? There were 3 books. Bags, So Easy Bags. Thank you. And pulled from all of those books and made another book called The Sewing Workshop. And so there are lots of scarf projects in here, as well as bags and other things. So again, the book itself is a great gift, but the projects in here would make great gifts also. All of these projects they're not just standard things. They have a little twist to them that make them unique. This is one of my favorites. So all 3 of those books are on sale this week for gifting. All right, let's talk about a couple of other designs. This is a dress that I dig out about once a year. This is the Bristol dress. It also comes as a top. And the top yoke and the sleeve are a lightweight ponte. But then the body of the dress is a very unique nubby fabric that has some sequins on it. Just a few, but it gives it a little bit of sparkle. So put with some jazzy shoes, maybe a scarf that you've made, and you can go anywhere. The Hudson top is a very simple, I call it almost a canvas for making so many other things. So it normally has quite a large cowl. Well, if you leave the cowl off and maybe taper the sleeves a little bit and make it in some sort of an open weave, glittery, whatever fabric, makes a great overpiece to wear with skinny pants, skinny skirt, great shoes. One thing to point out, when I'm feeling a little lazy or the fabric is just fussy, I will make my bindings out of something else. So this is a piece of lining fabric, rayon Bemberg, that I've cut on the bias. And, I've used that little tape maker. It's kind of a little metal tool where you run the bias fabric through there and it comes out folded on both sides, and you can press it and use it as bias binding. So that's what I've done on this. Or I'll use the bias tape that comes in a package. I was reading an article, and my new threads came today, and I was reading an article about what are we sewers, particularly garment sewers, going to do without Joann's. Well, if Joann's depended on somebody like me to stay in business, that's why they're not in business. But I used to buy bias tape in the package, things like that at Joann's. So now we have to go on a little bit more of a hunt for that. But it's not hard. It's all over the internet. It's not something that we carry. But you can make your own out of fabric, and it's prettier anyway. Samantha made this. This is the Hong Kong vest. Again, in a fabric that has a bit of glitter to it. Nice woven fabric. But look at the detail on the pockets. Well, first of all, she put pockets on it, which the Hong Kong vest does not have. But as she has explained before, she has a wall and an envelope on that wall. And in that envelope are all of her templates for different shapes of pockets. And this is one of them. But look at these studs. Aren't these cool? So you can have these, you can buy these pretty easily on Amazon. They come in brass, black, white, various sizes. I think there were 3 sizes that I found. They're like a kind of like a snap in a way. I mean, they just stick through the fabric. You put on a backing, and there you are. So it's not like it's on a strip of tape or something like that. They are individual studs that you put wherever you want. I think those are very cool. I'm sure you can find something like this on Etsy as well. Then for the lapel, you can change the character of a fabric by simply channel stitching it. So this is a black wool. It's been channel stitched about 1/4 inch apart. That just changes that up just enough that it looks like a real couture garment. I have to show you this. Erin wore this in today. I don't know if she found it in her vault at home. I think that's what happened. But this is the San Diego jacket without the sleeves, also in a fur. And she's done some, what have you done on this, Erin? The seams are sewn and then pressed to one side and then top stitched. But all the edges are raw. Looks like you did a little pinking. Oh yeah, overlapping seam on the shoulder, the drop shoulder seam. Isn't that fun though? It just couldn't be simpler. Great button. Now's a chance to get out that singular button that you've been hoarding for 30 years. You can always take it off. San Diego vest. If you have a beautiful print, as this one is, this is a plaza jacket, longer, with some piping in it. And, there's nothing more beautiful than a beautiful wrap in a printed silk. You could take this on the winter cruise, wear it to dinner, or you can wear it around the house, or you could wear it to dinner, anywhere. Here's a pair of West End pants that are in a stretch. I'm sorry, these must be Valencias, because there's only one seam. But stretch velvet is a different animal than velvet. It's a knit. So that's all you really have to think about is as you would sew any knit, a walking foot, the right needle, polyester thread, um, maybe a stabilizer to start, that sort of thing, you would do to stretch velvet. That's a whole different category of how to treat velvety things. If you're going to make something out of the black velvet, you probably want to get the sewing with velvet tutorial because you have to be careful with pressing and cutting out and nap and all kinds of things. So it's really different. But a simple pair of Valencia pants that don't have any side seams, again, you can sew these up very quickly for an actual event. All right, Betsy, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. First question. Oh, here, let me get off my face. You don't need to see me.
We always love to see you.
Is Samantha's vest lined?
It is not lined. It could be, but it's not.
Okay.
If I were, let me back up just 1 second on a Hong Kong vest. I would probably underline it more than line it. Meaning, well, I could do a little bit of a hybrid. I could sew the side seams of the lining. I could sew the shoulder seams, but then I would sew it into the edges, which is more of an underlining technique.
Okay. Can you describe the adjustment needed when tops slide back on the shoulders?
Yeah, that's called balancing shoulders. That technique is in our fitting book. And basically you want to remove about a ½ inch from the shoulder seam of the front piece. And you want to attach that piece, that strip that you've taken off the front, you want to put it at the back seam. So basically you're moving the shoulder seam a ½ inch forward. That should take care of it. It's on page 14 of our fitting booklet.
And the fitting booklet is a great gift for any of your sewing friends.
Well, that's
because
true.
it has all the answers to all the fitting questions. So let's see. I think that's all I've got, actually. We've
Okay.
explained ourselves well today.
All right. Well, let's look at some fabrics. All right. Let me get these out of the way. Okay. You know, sometimes I don't know how to describe a fabric, and this is one of them. This is like a slinky knit, only it's crinkled. Not crinkled, but pleated. Tiny, tiny little pleats. And then in some of the pleats are some sequins, sort of, kind of. Excuse me. Remnants of my trip. So it is stretchy, 4-way stretch, but it's definitely stretchier on the cross grain than the lengthwise grain. But however you move in it is what sort of surfaces as the glittery part. Because the glittery part is straight across, but it doesn't look like it is. But it is. This is a gorgeous blue. But you know, all you have to do is just, I'd make a skirt, I'd make a top. Easy to work with, I think. I haven't sewn on it, but it feels like it would be easy to manage. The next is a print. I pulled out just a couple of prints that I thought were lively and colorful and somewhat holiday-ish. This one is floral of sorts, leafy, black background with all sorts of beautiful colors. The one under that is like a boucle. This has some sparkle to it, not all over. And it's definitely, in my opinion, kind of one-sided. It's not necessarily reversible. Isn't it pretty? This is the kind of thing that some people would make a Chanel jacket out of, which would be great. I'm sort of out of the Chanel jacket making mode these days, and I'm making things that are a little bit simpler, but this could be a wonderful little jacket or a top. They make a great Hong Kong vest. And talking about lining or underlining, it's not going to stay, I don't think. Maybe. This would make a great trim, piping, binding, underlining, lining, whatever, for almost anything really. But I pulled it to go with that piece we just looked at. Now we've got two. I'm going to look here a minute. I think maybe Samantha's used one of these. Yeah. So the two blacks have shimmer to them. This one is like a sweater knit. It's definitely solid on the back, solid black. And it's like you can see the kind of cable rib in the texture, and then some sequins just laid in real randomly and every once in a while. This one is definitely woven with a lurex type thread. So the glitter is not random, it's throughout the whole piece. But both pieces have a similar weight, even though this is a sweater knit and a knit, this is a woven. But both would make Bristol dress, Hong Kong vest, Eureka, Anne's tank, Hudson, any of them really. You've seen this as a plaza jacket. That's very Poochie-like. You know, it's a big bold print and it's very flowy. So you want to think about that in what you make. So I should ask Erin what she's going to make out of this because she had to have it. And it is beautiful. This magenta color is incredible. What you're not seeing on this side, I may pull this down, although it's kind of big. There are three-dimensional flowers on this side. So like, here, come here and help me, why don't you? Erin, we'll get this down so you can see it. Yeah. All right, so this is what I would call the back. And this, see how these are floating, these flowers? That would be the right side to me. Right, let's talk about what you're going to make with it.
Well, they can't hear me, so I have to repeat it.
Okay.
But I think just a simple mix it up and layer it.
Mm-hmm. So she's going to make a simple mix-it top and layer it over the silk, the solid silk. Yeah, nice. All right, well, those are the fabrics. We are out of the black velvet all of a sudden, I've been told. We have one piece of the cream fur left, and that's about it. So,
Well, we have a couple questions.
all right.
I guess this is a moot point, but did the black velvet have any stretch?
No,
Okay.
it was not a stretch. That would make it that would not be a velvet then. That would be a stretch velour, stretch velvet, but true velvet does not stretch.
Would you wear the Hudson top that you showed with the Oasis skirt?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I think so because that when I wear that skirt, I feel very tall and narrow. And then you put an oversized top over that, make sure it's the right length. If it's too long, it's too much. Maybe you shorten it, maybe you don't. I don't know. I have to look at that. But put that on a dress form and study the proportions. But yes, that'd be great.
Okay. Glittery fabrics irritate my sensitive skin. Is there a way to minimize the scratch of these fabrics?
Um, there's only maybe one. I can relate to what you're talking about because I have sensitive skin as well. I don't think you're going to have any trouble with the blue. Obviously, not the print. This one, maybe. And so you might want to underline it in China silk or Bimber Rayon. And you could even bind the edges using the silk uh, the lining fabric so that even the edges aren't poking at you.
And remember, we can send a sample if you want to
Sure.
touch it first. If you want to touch it first. Can you tell us what you're wearing and talk about the fabric and the embroidery, please?
Sure. I am wearing the Detour jacket, which, because of the fabric, is, in my opinion, fairly dressy, my kind of dressy. This is a printed dupioni, silk dupioni, that is lined in a wild blue lining. Kathy made this, so she did the embroidery by hand. And I'm not sure of the origin of this design. It has to me, sort of a deep sea flavor to it, but I don't think that's where she was going with it particularly. I don't know if she's on the call or not. She could write in what her inspiration was. But this is all hand stitches of French knots, back stitches, fill stitches, using regular embroidery cloths.
Okay. Could you please place the hot pink lace, you'll need Erin with you, over the floral piece with the black background? So
Okay,
maybe the opposite,
this one,
whatever's
over this one.
easiest.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
you want to move this over there? Is that easier?
The one up close. A little bit up close.
Okay, let's do that. Oops, sorry.
Lovely.
Okay,
Okay. Would you please show the Hudson top again?
sure. I should put it on a hanger, maybe make it look a little bit better. Um, I would probably think about what I was wearing under this if I was wearing anything under it. I might close up the neckline, maybe not. Some people like this width of neckline. You could scoop it out even more and let whatever you wear underneath it show.
Okay. Um, Earlier we talked about, I think, balancing shoulders with
Yes.
when the top slides back on the shoulders. Going back to that, after you adjust the shoulders, are there any changes to the sleeve?
Yeah, you move the top dot over the same amount, so half an inch. You move it towards the front. Let me find that again. Yeah, you haven't changed the circumference or the measurement of the sleeve. So there's no reason to change that. Now, why am I having trouble here? Fitting shoulders. Okay, here we go. Yeah, but you can see here that whatever you cut off of the front and attach to the back, that same amount, the dot is moved. That's the easiest way to do it. I've read about more complicated ways, but this to me makes the most sense.
Now, if your shoulder seams fall forward, do you do the opposite adjustment?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you have garments that fall forward, you can balance it the opposite way. But there may be something about the neck, where the neck fits you, that's also playing something into it. And you could either scoop out the neck or build up the neck a little bit, whatever you need. I'd have to think about that and probably look at the actual person. But yeah, but the opposite way works as well.
Okay. I don't see any other questions, so.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot of things on sale this week. We've got a lot of fabrics, plus tutorials. Is the sewing with velvet on there? Maybe
It
not.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got Sewing with Velvet. We've got the Crossroads Compendium. Those are your tutorials for the week. Pattern-wise, we have Anne's Cardigan, Bristol, Crossroads, Eureka, Hong Kong, Hudson, Oasis, and all of those beautiful fabrics, and the scarf books.
That's right.
And we do have one more question or a request, that is to see the Bristol dress, if possible. Sure. Cute. I feel like I remember you wearing that to a couple parties last year.
I have worn this quite a bit, actually. I have this wild necklace that's, I bought some, like some antique shop or something that's all metal and colorful and fills a lot of space. I do wear hosiery with it, and some booties. Yeah, I love this dress. I don't have to suck in my stomach or anything. I love it.
That's the best part.
Absolutely.
You can hit that buffet and not have to worry about it.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you have some holiday inspiration and you're ready to sparkle, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks.